Hi, it's Thomas. Welcome back to the course Principles of Management. Today's topic is Understanding Management's Context. In considering the context of management, let's consider two opposing views about the manager. Is a manager omnipotent or symbolic? The omnipotent view focuses on the ability of the manager. This idea is that managers are directly responsible for an organization's success or failure. So here, the manager's experience, skills, ideas are what are driving the results at the organization. In contrast, the symbolic view minimizes the manager's role in the success or failure of an organization. The symbolic view states that an organization's success or failure is due to the external environment, forces outside of management's control. So next, let's take a look at the components of the external environment. The components of the external environment. The economy, what's happening in the country's economy as well as on an international level, affects the performance of an organization, and the organization has minimal control over, really no control over, what's happening in the economy. Rather, the economy has a strong impact on the organization. Global, the international environment. Now we live in a connected world, and so what's happening on a global scale has a direct effect on the success of a manager in running an organization, despite the manager's experience and skill set. The political and legal environment in which a company operates also has an impact on that company's success. Political changes, legal changes that might affect the ability of a company to operate, sometimes those are favorable, sometimes those are unfavorable. Those are important factors that are external to the organization. Social and cultural factors are also important. The perspectives that people have on, for example, the environment, the perspectives that people have on individual health. These are new concepts that have significant effects on how organizations operate, the kinds of products they're able to sell, what they're able to do, and how people respond to those products and those activities. The technological factor. The internet is a great example of how technology has a major impact on the performance and results of organizations, and how managers are able to succeed or how they don't succeed in running their organizations. And finally, demographics as an important factor. Demographics refers to the idea of the male-female split in a country, the age distribution in a country. How many people are young? How many people are middle-aged? How many people are old? These kinds of ideas relate to demographics, and the demographics of an area in which an organization is operating have a significant impact on that organization's results. And in evaluating the manager's ability to succeed or fail, all of these external environment factors have significant influence on the manager's results outside of or beyond the manager's expertise and skill set. Now let's take a look at some specific examples of the interaction between the external environment and management. One is jobs and employment. When an economy is growing, an economy is on the rise, in general, organizations benefit from that situation. Companies grow, sales grow, there is an increase in demand for jobs, and that's favorable towards the economy in which that organization is working. Management decisions can support those changes. Sometimes poor management decisions will actually work against those favorable changes. But in a general sense, it's the change at a higher level than the management of an individual organization that is producing this result. The factors are outside of management's control. That's the same in the opposite direction. When an economy is stagnant, in other words, it's not growing, or it's in decline, then in general, organizations are affected negatively. And again, a manager can take steps to offset or maybe even worsen those negative conditions but the general situation is outside of the bigger situation. The bigger factors are outside of the manager's direct control. Environmental uncertainty is another important concept relating to the interaction between the external environment and management. We can look at two components of uncertainty: the degree of change and complexity. The more change, the more impact that the environment has on an organization, and the less control a manager has over those factors. And the more complexity, the more change that an environment has, or that an environment causes in the situation of an individual organization, and again, the less control a manager will have over those factors. In contrast, a low level of change, a low level of complexity, in those cases, the external environment has less influence on an organization, and a manager is able to have more influence relative to the external environment. And finally, stakeholder relationships also are an important component of the external environment. Stakeholders are the individuals and the organizations that are affected by the activity and decisions of another organization. Here we have 4 examples. There are others, but we'll look at these 4. An organization's employees, as well as the organization's customers. In general, these are individuals. Customers aren't directly connected to the organization, but they're influenced by, they have a relationship with the organization. They're considered stakeholders. Additionally, shareholders, who are the owners of the corporation, they have a direct impact on the activity and results of the organization. And finally, communities are important stakeholders of an organization. The communities is a reference to the individuals, families, and other organizations that operate in the same area as the main organization under discussion, and that are influenced and impacted by the decisions, activities, the products and services sold by the organization. So we'll take a break here, and shortly we'll return with part 2 of Understanding Management's Context.